Hello, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. I'm here at Mission Bay Park here in San Diego. It's time for another Trees of San Diego episode. So today, let's focus on this graceful, beautiful tree here. What do we have here, by the way? This is what we call Willow Peppermint. It's this beautiful tree right here. This is Agonis flexuosa. So Agonis flexuosa is a small evergreen tree in the Myrtle family, the Myrtaceae. So, where is it from? Australia. It's an Australian native. Like a lot of members of the Myrtaceae, it's native to Australia. And like a lot of Myrtaceae, it does well here in Southern California's climates, especially coastal and near coastal inland areas that don't receive severe frosts. So what we have here is a tree with very graceful weeping branches, very graceful weeping branches, and very small, narrow twigs and narrow leaves. Let's see here. We've got some very narrow leaves that have a slight sickle shape. They have a slight curvature to them, and they are alternately arranged on the stem. So they're alternate one another. And then we get this beautiful weeping display. And a lot of times these trees tend to be flat topped, and they don't usually get very large. I usually don't see them more than maybe 30 feet tall, and that's not very common. And we got a few good examples around here. So I'm definitely coming back to this one. So, let's see. One right here that's pretty flat topped. And that's especially common here in areas where you get a lot of sea wind that blows them and stunts them from growing upwards. That was a little flat top too, and that's the one I was visiting. So let's go back to it, talk a little bit more about it. As you can see, it's got a very graceful crown to it. Beautiful weeping branches. So it kind of looks like a weeping willow a little bit, only it's definitely not related. Willows are in the willow family. But it does have that graceful architecture. But it also looks similar to other types of trees that are planted here in the San Diego area. And those are eucalyptus. Guess why? Well, let's see. They're related. Eucalyptus trees are in the Myrtle family as well. So we're gonna have a lot of features that are pretty common to the Myrtle family that you'll see on Agonis flexuosa, the willow peppermint. So why is it called a willow peppermint? First of all, the name willow peppermint alludes to two different aspects of this tree. A, the willow portion of the name alludes to its weeping willow-like stature, shape, branching structure. The other portion of it refers to the very fragrant foliage. I'm gonna get a dead leaf here. So this is a dead leaf right here. It has a very pepperminty, aromatic smell that is very delightful. It's an absolute delightful smell. It's kind of similar to the smell of the leaves of bottle brushes and melaleucas in the genus Callistemon and Melaleuca, respectively. And it's also not that far removed from the scents you'd expect on eucalyptus, kind of a camphory aroma. However, there are some minty nuances to the smell of these leaves that give rise to its common name, willow peppermint. So this beautiful Aussie tree does very well in warm winter climates or mild winter climates that don't get below freezing for more than maybe a couple times a year, and barely below freezing, if that. And let's go and talk up some more about this tree after I snatch a picture or two. Alright, so we already kind of got a preview of what the trunk looks like. It's interesting, for such a small statured tree, these trees often, with age, get these pretty girthy trunks. Now for such a small statured tree, this was probably maybe about 25 feet tall. It's got a pretty good girthy base to it. So while these trees may not grow very tall, have a pretty small, short, stubby stature, they, with age, get these wide trunks that are actually really cool looking. Some of these trees have some pretty wide trunks, and I've seen them quite a bit wider than this. But this is a pretty respectably girthy specimen. And as you notice here, our bark is moderately furrowed. It's mostly grayish brown with some lighter brown colors underneath the furrows. And then we're going to talk about another aspect of this plant that is breathtaking in late spring and early summer. The flowers. So, these flowers are 5-petaled, quite pretty, and very noticeable during the peak flowering period, which is usually in late spring and early summer. Here we are in late May, and this tree is in full bloom right now. So there's pretty small flowers, but they are clustered together, and they're quite showy. So this tree has a little silverish whitish hue when viewed from a distance. So they've got 5 very narrow petals and really small stamens at the base of the petals. And then when they are done, they form these woody seed capsules. So you can see with the woody seed capsules, and these are clusters of them. Each little circle within the cluster is an individual seed capsule, and they're usually fused together. The seed capsules are fused together, as you see here. And eventually, they'll split open at the top and release the really tiny seeds. Now, little note, I've actually germinated this before. I've had a couple seedlings of this plant. And in my experience, they weren't really that difficult to germinate, and they're not extremely difficult to grow. If I had the room, I would have planted it in the ground, and probably would have been quite large by now. But it's a very beautiful tree, definitely worth taking a look at. So I'm going to go ahead and get a few flower and seed capsule close-ups, and then we'll go into her towards the conclusion of this video. Alright, so here we are, Agonis flexuosa, beautiful Willow Peppermint. Beautiful tree here, Mission Bay. And here's its related New Zealand Christmas tree, Myrtaceae excelsa. Be sure to check out this video too. Have a little bit more information about this tree, which is also a Myrtle Family relative here, planted here in San Diego. So, thanks for watching my video. Hope to get some more of these videos. Been pumping out a good few of them today, so I'm trying to make up for some lost time. But we're going to finish this off. Here. Willow Peppermint, Agonis flexuosa. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another episode of Trees of San Diego.